Coming up on this episode of The Director and the D.O.P, it's episode 10. We made it, baby. We get into the world of music videos with Coke Studios, and Liam tells us all about his passion for K-pop, and then we discuss a new camera release, 65mm. It's here. Hello and welcome to The Director and the D.O.P. Yes, we made it. It's episode 10. Liam, how are you feeling?
Yes. Does that mean we're done? Yeah. We don't have to talk to each other ever again?
We just hit stop now. We didn't say how long we were going to go past episode 10. Just make it to episode 10.
Stick a fork in it. It's done.
But look, for those of you who may be joining for the first time, this is The Director and the D.O.P. I'm Ethan McLean, a commercial film director. And with me, I have Liam Brennan, the boss of the batteries himself.
Boss of the batteries.
I just made that one up on the spot. I did no prep.
I like that. Yeah. What about the sensei of the sensor?
Oh, that's a good one.
Fuck yeah.
You can get in on this. This is great.
Only took me to episode 10.
So when we started out on this, we made an agreement that if we made the decision to start, we would definitely get to 10.
Yes, because most podcasts do not make it to 10. Most podcasts don't even make it past 3. We've done it.
Opens up my LinkedIn profile, updates. Successful podcasteer. What's been probably your favorite thing? Like, is there a single moment that's popped out of doing this so far?
Spending time with you, man. And I can honestly say that. Like, we do have a good time. Look, I think my favorite thing is we said that we weren't going to buy anything.
Yeah.
The first episode, I bought a new laptop because my old laptop couldn't deal with the editing. And then the fourth episode, I bought a fucking camera. I bought a very expensive Sony Burano camera because we needed to bring in more guests. I was like, we need another camera. Yeah. So I have not done super well. You also made a purchase.
I bought a little, I don't know, you just told me to buy a D-Tap
You bought a D-Tap adapter for the Fuji X-T5.
Yeah.
So everyone playing at home, since we got to episode 10, we are shooting the main angle now, the guest angle on a Sony Burano. My angle now, we've changed across to the X-T5.
The interview, your angle.
The
not this one
Fujifilm
right
X-T5, which is Ethan's. And then we're on an FX2 for Ethan because he likes to move around a lot.
Yeah, I do.
And the autofocus is good. Yeah. But we've done all right. But I have spent a lot of money.
So we're going behind the paywall. We're after one listener / watcher who's willing to pay us 10 grand an
I'm in the red, man. I'm in the red.
My favorite moment, I think you were right. Spending time with you has been awesome. That's been really fun. And also just to know, I didn't know I had this in me, and it's actually been quite good.
Oh, dude, I have to tell you, one of the dads from school, from my son's school, he actually listened to it.
Yeah.
And like he'd found it because like through Instagram, he listened to it and he's like, "Where did you find that Ethan guy?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "He's a full pro. He's such a good presenter. He sounds like a proper radio guy." I was like,
Oh, maybe Radio National if you need a industry specific podcast host. I'm available. So that's been really nice. And then the other thing that's been really great is just how engaged people have been.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I haven't told you this, but I had someone ring me straight away the other day to talk about what was on one of our clips straight away because they were like so engaged. It was great. It was really good.
Like what was the subject?
Oh, it's just that there's the clip.
We're talking about our hair. Like, how do you get it that good?
But they rang me because they wanted to talk about something we were speaking about in the moment. Like people are actually caring about what we say. So that's been really, really nice.
You know what's even better is when you ring Ethan or me about a job. Just do that. That's what we're doing this for.
Speaking of jobs, we have a guest coming on today, a guy we know pretty well ourselves. I've worked with him a few times. You haven't worked with him. He's a very funny man, and he has quite an impressive project he wants to talk about, rather large. So I'm excited to get stuck into that. And see
there's a reason why we have all the lights in the studio set to red.
For those who are very eagle-eyed, Liam does try and adjust the colors to match either the company that we're speaking to or the project that we're speaking to. So,
how it complements the clothes that we're wearing.
literally just told me to change my shirt because it wasn't going to match the lighting.
I was like, oh, red and green. I don't know. That's a bit Christmassy.
But yeah, we're speaking to James Griffiths from, which is weird saying his full name because everyone just calls him Griff.
Yeah.
But we have Griff coming on from Universal Music / Bring to speak about a project that took him all across Asia. So I'm really excited to hear about it.
Yeah.
And it's music, which is like right up your alley.
Yeah. I think it's an awesome project to be chatting about. I think anyone who listens to this podcast is going to get a lot out of this episode because everyone, when they start out, wants to film music videos.
Yeah.
But everyone finds out very quickly that you cannot survive filming music videos because you will never make any money. But this is a way that you can make money out of making music videos.
Maybe Griff's going to tell us that we've been fed a lie and you can actually do it. Okay, well, let's get into it. Coming up now, it's The Breakdown with Griff. Okay, time for the breakdown. And today's guest is, well, we know him as Griff, but your official name is James Griffiths.
Absolutely. Last time I checked.
And Griff is GM of Creative at Bring Universal. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, guys.
Awesome to have you, man. We're so stoked that you were able to come on today.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I'm really, really excited because we've done a few projects in the past because I think Griff works in this really interesting space where like culture and music and advertising all kind of like coalesce and crashes together in really interesting ways. So I'm quite excited. And you're a big music guy.
Yeah. I think you probably have one of the cooler positions in advertising, right? If you're adjacent to music or you're involved in music, it's essentially where everyone wants to be, right?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't like to say I've got one of the nicest jobs, but I have to say I do really enjoy it. I love getting up in the morning. I seriously think the stuff that we get to make at Bring is quite unique and not your traditional advertising, really. Definitely. It's kind of advertising in disguise and it's cultural and exciting. So yeah, it's a pretty cool role.
Yeah, well, sure. Let's jump in. What was the project you wanted to focus on today?
Well, there's been a few over the last 12 months that I could have focused on, but I had to kind of go with one of the bigger pieces that we've done as an agency. So it's a piece for Coca-Cola. You may have heard of them. Yeah, fairly
challenger brand,
fairly well-known brand in market. But so we've been working with them now for about 3 years or so on their global platform called Coke Studio. If you don't know what it is, it's in about 20 markets now around the world. They basically are all about bringing artists together, unique artists, unexpected artists, and creating these kind of collisions or collaborations. So we were lucky enough to work with them in their year one, launching it here in Australia. And after a successful first year, they invited us back in and to collaborate on what we would do for Coke Studio in year two and excite fans and make it a unique experience, really.
Yeah. So give us the overview. There's kind of 3 music videos, a whole selection of artists across the region, which is pretty crazy. Like, give us the 37 top down, and we'll get stuck into some details.
Yeah, cool. So I mean, look, I made it complicated on myself, didn't I? Yeah. Instead of just doing one collaboration this year, we decided to do 2. So we had one in Australia, New Zealand, 3 incredible artists, Drax Project, Keita Alexander, Peking Duck. And then we expanded our remit to the Philippines this year. So we were lucky enough to collaborate with the largest P-pop band there, Binny, and the youth orchestra to create an original song there. So not just one, but 2 original songs. And then we one-upped it even more. And we brought those songs together to create this kind of final surprise moment for fans and a final music video, song, and kind of this special moment at the end of the campaign. So the way I kind of like to think about it is we were constantly thinking about all these little Easter eggs and these little surprises and mysteries that we could create throughout the campaign. They were hidden in plain sight. The music videos were an absolutely fundamental part of that in terms of how we were hiding these kind of little Easter eggs within it. And we just put them out there, let fans kind of started to connect the dots and converse about it and talk about it and try to unravel the mystery. And then we brought all 5 of those artists together for this final song and then released a final kind of music video at the end. So It was really cool. It was bold.
Yeah.
It was big. It was different. It was a huge collaboration, not just with the artists that we brought together, and that's obviously fundamental to the musical side. But also, when you're working with Coca-Cola, it's a huge collaboration with their agency partners, and we've been really lucky enough to kind of collaborate with Ogilvy across the region on this over the last. Wow, it's been like it. From the day we got briefed to the day we released that final track was about a 12-month cycle.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, wow.
It's a big project.
That's
it's
incredible.
A big project.
Yeah.
It touches a lot of people, but it's work that we're really, really proud of, and the momentum behind it when you put something out in the world and let fans kind of play with it.
Yeah, cool.
It was a super cool project to be involved in.
Is the music video side of it the biggest side of it? Like, was that the main, I guess, deliverable or content that was really going to work for this?
Yeah. I mean, look, music videos, they've kind of probably shifted in terms of maybe the hierarchy in kind of music marketing a little, maybe over the last decade with, a bit more of a kind of broad spectrum of where a song can show up, right? It can show up anywhere. It can show up in social. Totally. It can show up in the real world. But definitely, these music videos were like the key assets for the campaign. And when you're dealing with an artist like the scale of Beanie and the fandom around that artist.
We just saw the views before, like 36 million views on that clip.
Every time I refresh it seems to go up another 100,000, even, months after that campaign has launched. And it's because the fans are so thirsty there. They just, their consumption on music videos, especially in that kind of P-pop genre, is really interesting to kind of see.
There's a lot of people in the Philippines, and that band is big. Hey, like they are big, and it's really like multi-generational fan base as well. And I think when they grab onto something, they're in, right? Yeah.
Oh, they're we couldn't believe it, right? So we kind of had this tease part of the campaign, right?
Yeah.
We handed the song over to a load of emerging talent. We got them to cover the song before it even came out. That was kind of one of the core parts of this campaign, so that people were hearing a new Beanie track, but they were hearing it through an artist that they love that isn't Beanie. Yeah. And when we released the song, we couldn't believe the amount of people who already knew the song, already knew the lyrics, already knew some of the dance moves.
Really?
Before the videos even dropped. And we had, I think, over 1,000 reaction videos in that first week, just of people absorbing it, playing it, learning the moves, teaching moves, that sort of thing. So, I mean, the fandom is like another level in the Philippines, and it's been quite extraordinary getting under the skin of that actually over the last 12 months on that project and trying to truly harness it and understand it, which is part of what we do. So
totally.
So on the filming perspective, did you film in a single block with artists in one studio? Or were you doing an Australian block and a Philippines block? Like, how did that work from the actual music video production sense?
No, it was quite a fascinating shoot actually, because you're briefing. We had two distinct songs that we designed to connect. So the songs themselves shared a sort of audio DNA to them. It's a cadence, a melody, some lyrical, little moments here and there. But because one of them is a big pop song and the other one is a Peking duck dance banger, each of the songs feel very distinct sonically, right? They have very, very different vibes to them. So part of the brief was to make sure, when we're working with our director, Raghav from the guys at Collider, was to see how they could bring that distinction visually through, but how we could actually connect them. And part of his thought around how we connect them was through the sets that we build.
Yeah.
So we can create and make these, I think there were about 9 distinct sets that we built for these music videos. But over 2 days, we shot 2 music videos back to back. One was a little bit darker in tone. It was more in that kind of trance dance space and felt a bit surreal. And then the other one was bright and vibrant and poppy and very Beanie. But we shared those sets and those DNAs. So yes, one day was the Australian shoot. The second day was the Filipino shoot.
Yeah, okay.
And then we created these little tiny moments where those artists could cross-pollinate each other's music video.
That's crazy. How did you, from a songwriting perspective, like do that? Like, it's pretty insane.
Yeah. Oh man. So look, we're really lucky, I think, at Universal Music that we work with some of the best producers in the world. So there was a producer that I really wanted to work with, a guy called Styles. He's produced for Troye Sivan. He's won ARIAs, nominated for Grammys. He knows what he's doing. And you sort of approach him with this idea, and it's like, hey, I want you to write a track, but then I almost need you to pull that track apart and create two other songs from it. But those two songs have to stand alone on their own. They can't feel like a poor sibling to something larger. They have to feel like tracks unto themselves. So the briefing process for him was actually quite fascinating. We did a whole research piece and commissioned a study for the brand on what are the attributes of a pop song. What are the scientific things that make songs sticky?
Yeah, and were they different across the two cultural markets, or not? Or
we did put a global lens. Yeah, we put a global lens on that. So yeah, we didn't actually specifically dive in on a market sense, although that would have been actually quite fascinating. But we kind of used those building blocks. So what key is it going to be in? What BPM is it going to be in?
So you're already knowing that you're essentially writing a banger that the general population is going to like. Well, that's such a hard thing.
Look, if there was a rule book for writing the biggest song in the world, we haven't discovered it yet. haven't discovered it yet. But
it's 3 chords.
You can put the right people in the room, the right sort of human minds behind it to kind of interpret some of that footprint, and that was kind of really interesting as well as part of the process. So
what was the decision to go with an Australian production partner rather than a Filipino production partner?
Oh, so that's a really good question. Do you know what though? We did brief it globally.
Yep.
So we actually did get, we got 3 responses on that. Yeah. One was based in Asia.
Yep.
Another one was based in Europe. And then we had one in Australia, because we wanted a global lens over this. It had to feel global, not Australian and New Zealand. So we did actually, as part of that process, go a little wider and get a few perspectives on how a director would do it. And I guess this, Eve, like sometimes it's best idea wins, or the idea that feels most right for what you want to make. And what I found about this one, I don't know if if you worked in music videos, I imagine at some point, right? You kind of cut your teeth on music videos in this industry a little bit, right? Yeah. So this is kind of an elevated music video, and the process of briefing a music video is quite different from briefing a 30-second ad.
Yeah.
Like I find, right? Like you've got 4 minutes of entertainment, and those 4 minutes have to live on for the next 20 years. Like you can watch a music video from the 80s and it still, to me, feels fresh and exciting today. Yeah. And I feel like the team that you put on it get to kind of stretch their creative wings a little bit on a music video, and that's half the kind of fun of working on that format. So the briefing process wasn't, here is the entire story of these music videos. Like this is not an A to B linear narrative that we're briefing out over 30 seconds. Yeah. It was very much driven by the kind of vibes of the song, and each one had to feel distinct to the artists that made it, and had to feel distinct to the kind of energy of the tracks, whilst also integrating Coke. Like what are the cool ways that we can do some product moments through color, through vibe, through energy. How can we make sure that it feels kind of like a Coca-Cola entity?
To me, I found that in this piece, the role of Coke probably more overt than potentially I was originally thinking it might be, but it comes across so strongly. Is that because Coke Studios has already built its own creative kind of like identity that allows you to lean into brand, and maybe that another way of just giving an artist a product you can't get away with because there's no authentic connection?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting platform for the brand because it exists to kind of bring in a kind of new generation of fan through, you know, appealing to Gen Zers. But it does have its own identity as a kind of sub-brand of the Coca-Cola master brand. You know, it does have its own design system. It has its own kind of vibe and attributes as well. And you know, it's interesting to kind of play in that space because it does feel a little bit more cultural than, you know, it's not, like I said, it's not a 30-second ad where we need 20 seconds of product. It's not that at all. It needs to be artist-driven. It needs to feel like you're bringing the artist into that journey and creating the worlds around the artist and the song. And Coke is the kind of facilitator of that. And so it's that fine line between finding those product moments, which you can be a little bit more overt on in the Philippines than you can say in the Australian and New Zealand market, because they are a little, they don't mind that. So you'll notice if you watch the Beanie one, there are some much more of a consumption moments within it, which we didn't want to put in the Australian one because we're still building a bit of heritage and a bit of equity in the Coke Studio brand here, whereas in the Philippines it's been around for 8+ years. So, you know, they know what Coke Studio is. They know it's bringing together these amazing artists, whereas we've got a little bit more work to do here in Australia and New Zealand.
You can start your 12-month pipeline now.
Yeah, exactly. If anyone wants to share that brief.
No. Was there a moment when you're like you've got how many? There's like 5 different artists. You've got the orchestra, you've got the 3 different artists in the Australian, New Zealand one, you've got Beanie, you've got the 2 songs that connect together, you're shooting in the Philippines with connected sets. Was there a moment when you went, oh my goodness, I think we've bitten off a little bit too much?
Never. But I guess always as well is the answer to that. Look, I think a little bit, I have to say, a little bit, because the shoot days were incredibly ambitious. The production scale was pretty impressive, if I'm honest. It was very impressive.
It's a big set build. Like that's and for a single day shoot as well.
It was, and everything was built bespoke as well. So it was a great collaboration between Jari and Anthony over at Ogilvy, and we were sort of, you know, really heavily involved together in kind of bringing this to life. And I think we remember going to the set the day before shoot one, and it was the night before actually, and there's 100 people still beavering away building these sets, and we could not believe the sort of scale that was being created in front of our eyes. And they were like, it'll all be done tomorrow. We're like, okay, I hope so, because we're rolling at 8 a.m. But no, I think there were a couple of moments where we're like, have we bitten off a little bit more than we can chew? But there was a great team behind it, and yes, the days were ambitious, but we got pretty much everything we wanted to in the can across those 2 days. Pretty much. I mean, music video world, you know, it's big
days usually.
They're big days, and you're kind of shooting around scenarios a little bit more, and then there's some more story-driven stuff you absolutely need to nail, and then there's more performance moments where you can kind of cover yourself and make sure you've just got enough in the can. There was one moment actually, and I'm just thinking about it now. There was one moment where like, have we bitten off more than we can chew, or what are we doing? And it was the end of the first shoot day, and we had one shot to get. It was a really important one for us because it was about hiding a little note in the fridge. And it was really important to us that note was there.
So that's one of the Easter eggs, right?
One of the Easter eggs. And you know, that's core to what we're making, and very important to sort of me and Jari and Anthony within it. And they're saying, we've got 5 minutes to get it. And we're like, we've got to get the shot. And this guy just comes out with this huge saw, this huge like electric saw, and he starts just sawing the front of the fridge off so we can get the camera into the thing. And we're like, what is happening here? He's in his flip-flops or thongs. And I'll be like, should this be happening?
Did we pay for this guy or did he just walk in?
I don't know. Is he going up the street?
Knockoff time?
And we were like, okay, yeah, well, we got the shot.
Yeah.
We got the shot.
Yeah.
And and it's an important shot for us. But don't leave those sort of nuggets till the final moment.
Dude, yeah.
That's a learning there for sure. Yeah.
Do the product shot first because that's what the client cares the most about. I am always saying this, dude, because like most people leave the product shot to the last bit of the day and they're like, oh, it'll be so easy. But for you guys, it's the most important part.
Yeah.
The rest of the stuff, you're like, we can cut around it. But the Easter egg and the product shot with them,
they always take longer than you think as well.
Yeah, totally. Because the client and the creatives, they want that to be perfect. With the I think the visual style of this is very, very consistent. And I was really interested to see whether you'd shot it all in Australia or all in the Philippines. So you've said it's a mix of both, but you had the same director, Raghav, for both. Both of the shoots, and was it the same DP as well for both shoots? Or
yes, yeah. We had the director and some of the production team, and then we teamed up with a local production unit there. And
I think that's crucial, right? I think sometimes productions that have a bit less cash will push into like using a different DP overseas. Same director, different DP, like a local DP. I think for consistency, it's always best to just keep that DP exactly the same.
I mean, you must know this as well, collaborating together as well.
Yeah.
When you find someone that you work well with and you need to be working at speed over 2 days.
The shorthand is important.
You kind of need that person, I think, that you can just like click with and be like, I know I've got this. And I think that is a core that's a core partnership on set.
100%. Yeah.
Looking ahead, if you're looking to maybe do this again, what would you repeat from what you've done in this last production process?
Oh, from a production point of view.
Mainly, like a campaign, but mainly more production focused.
Yeah, no, look, that is an interesting question because I do like to think that we will always be, if Coke Studio continues, and hopefully it will in the future, is to make sure that it's artist centric, and we a lot of the time what we do with it, and it's for me it's really important, and I think it's really important to the team, is start with the collaboration, start with the songs, and let some of the moments come from that. And it's not until you kind of hear the song or you're starting to get that demo formed that you're like, okay, now I can start to see how this might visualize from a production perspective and a music video perspective. Because until then, we've been guilty because sometimes where the song's not ready and we need to move on production.
Of course.
And we're briefing the production before the song has even dropped sometimes. We're going, the song's going to sound a little bit like this. It's going to be, the vibe of this. And it's really hard to get the depth on a response when the song is not there. So I would always start with the song, I think, always.
So with this one, how much of the visual style or how much of the creative came... Because often on music videos, the director is so heavily entrenched in the creative of the music video. Mm-hmm. Was that the same with this? Was Raghav really in on the ground floor? Was he in the initial conversations, or did you go to pitch it out to all these production companies and go, hey, this is sort of the vibe, this is what it's going to look like, this is what the sets are going to look like?
Yeah, look, that is, I think, a really interesting part of what makes, for me, Coke Studio a little bit different to potentially what a traditional ad might be, because we do like to keep things a little bit open so that we're getting that director's interpretation. So we brief with kind of a construct. We'll be like, this is the energy of the song. This is the lyrics of the song. These are little moments that you might hook onto from a thematic perspective, and we have that. Then we pull references of things that we think that feel right for the project, and then also for the brand. And Coke Studio has done so many songs around the world that there's quite a lot of a world to pull from there.
Okay.
There's a certain signature, I'd say, that you can sort of pull from. But, with it, we always leave a little bit of a cheeky challenge to the director as well. And it's like, okay, well, we haven't completely, utterly solved this, and we are looking for that little spark over the top that, you know, the idea was we want these to feel connected, right? Like we think it could be this, and we had some ideas for how that could play out, but that part of it was sort of left open intentionally because you want that sort of creative to be driven by the director in what he wants to or she wants to put on that project and the mark that they want to kind of put on it themselves. And we leave that intentionally open, I think.
I know Raghav's background is he has done a lot of music video work, and I believe a lot of K-pop music video. That's why I sort of follow. I flippin' love K-pop. I think you already know this about me. But so that made sense, you know, when you look at him getting this job. Were there, like, how many directors or how many production companies were in the pitch process? And were there any directors that didn't have music video experience in that pitch process?
Good question. So we intentionally went to directors who had music video experience.
Okay.
That was really important. And a fair scale to that music video expertise, I would say. You know, we didn't sort of intentionally, because we are a big brand, Coca-Cola is a big brand, we didn't sort of go for the kind of indie up and coming director, because we needed someone who could straddle that line between creative and commercial and could bring their own unique DNA to the project and the experience of working in that medium, but also understand that, you know, this is a commercial project. And therefore, yes, you're going to have to understand the brand side of things as well as part of it. So we're looking for that sweet spot between like some big experience in music videos, but also moving into that commercial space or a couple of really good commercial projects under their belt. So yeah, that the short list kind of thins a little. Plus also I'm always just looking at, like, I watch music videos a lot as part of my job. Like, that's kind of, you know, I like to see what's happening, what are the themes, what are the sort of cultural themes that are happening in music video space. And I'm always clocking directors, and hopefully sometimes I get them at that right moment and that right time of their career. Sometimes I miss the boat, and they're already saying no. I'm moving on to this over here, and you're like, damn, I missed that. Damn.
So one of the things that's really moving a bit more broadly beyond just the Coke Studios project to more generally a lot of your work, your campaign work, and particularly your production work and filmmaking, is one of the things that is really interesting about the space that you work in is typically it's the client and the agency briefing in a director and a production company to go and make a commercial project. But you have a whole other ingredient, which is the artist. And the artist needs to kind of often be a creative driver of projects as well. What's that like, kind of having that mix of brand and artist and creative production all moving in together? And how do you manage that?
Yeah, I mean, so
we don't.
So yeah, take a seat. No, so look, there isn't a special sauce to working with an artist. I wish there was, but you know, a lot of artists, they're all distinctly different, and that's probably why fans love them. They love them for their distinction, for their for you know, the way they talk and how they put things into the world. So I think what that sort of secret middle creative chair is the artist, and how involved the artist is really is on a case by case basis. There's some artists who really understand their world. They really understand their fan base and how they want to talk to their fan base and what they want to say. And if, you know, entering into that project, you're going to have to enter it with your eyes open a little bit. And respect that they know what they're doing, just like I would respect a director or working with another creative, is, you know, that their decisions are grounded in a reason. And so you're finding that sweet balance between how involved are they at what stages, but also making sure that the brand gets what they need from that project too. And sometimes the artist might not quite understand the brand side of things. Like, you know, if we're creating this incredible piece of entertainment that's funded by a brand or made for a brand, you know, we have to kind of find that way of bringing them into your world. And I think that's kind of where I think we love having fun at Bring is how we can bring brands into an artist's world and universe in a really organic, natural way that doesn't feel like we're just badging something. It genuinely feels like you're collaborating and making.
Something that I know is going to come up is because, well, people ask me this, you know, people who are starting out in the industry come to me and say, I just want to do music videos and that's all I want to do. And I always say, oh, well, there's not really any money in music videos anymore. It's like, yeah, you can do music videos and it's super fun to do. That's what we all start out doing, but there's not really any money in it. And it's very hard to build a career out of just doing music videos. Is that still true?
Oh, look, I'd say it's a yes and no answer to that, right? So I'd say, if you're asking about money in music videos, I think if you're doing a project for an artist that you care about, or you care about the world around, and equally you get to put your DNA on that and your voice on it as a director or a DOP, and experiment a little bit. And there aren't a lot of mediums out there that are still quite experimental, and you can pretty much put anything on film you want because they say it's art, right? Which I think is incredibly exciting for someone who wants to move into creating work. On the other side of that, yeah, look, your budgets are always much smaller on music videos from a production point of view, but you just get to expand your knowledge. You get to understand how a set works in a day. You get to, like I said, experiment and be creative and try new things that maybe in a commercial sense you might not be able to experiment with as much. But can you make a living out of doing music videos alone? I think you should have a broader spectrum and plan in place. However, start there, cut your teeth, do some cool stuff, like show people what you can do, turn up on time, like be there, help out, like all of those things. That to me is where at the moment is honestly one of the only untouched mediums where I genuinely think you can say pretty much what you want in vision and experiment with. And I think that's incredibly powerful if you harness it right and use it as that stepping stone.
Yeah. I remember when I was, I still love doing music videos, but I did a lot when I was starting out that either didn't get released or, the band ends up pulling it, and that all been like super low budget and you're just like slogging your guts out to make this thing that was awesome.
You're talking about your own music videos?
No, I'm talking about other people. My one's always got released. But
I'd like to see those.
Yeah. Oh, you can see it. You can see it. They're pretty funny. But like, I made a rule at one point where I was like, I am just killing myself doing these things. And this is for people watching. And I kind of made a rule that I was only going to do music videos moving forward if the artist was signed. And if there was actual budget in it. Because if there was no money that was being spent on it, people can easily just be like, oh, fuck this, we're not releasing it, right? Or if there's if the artist is signed, and I know that's a very hard thing for people watching at home because it's hard to get access to those. But at least if the artist was signed, you knew that there was a plan for that music video getting released. So that was something that I thought worked. But I agree with you, Griff. It's it's still a medium that is very creative, and you can have, I suppose, because the budget is so low, as a director, you can still have a lot of input into what you want because that's essentially part of your payment as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the freedom that you get from being part of that medium. And then also, I still think that there's a certain amount of credibility to being in that space if you get it right. Yeah. If you are a driver of just an incredible piece of art that suddenly ignites, and it could. Like that's the spark, isn't it, around a great piece of entertainment?
That's some gambling words.
Spark. yeah. It's like, you know, that can lead to bigger things. And like I was sort of saying back to my previous point, I am trying to always find those directors that have that potential and are showing that they are doing some really interesting stuff in that space. So that to me, you know, like that could be how you're spotted for something bigger as well.
My plan getting into this industry, Ethan already knows this, was I just wanted to shoot K-pop music videos.
We'll have to get you one.
Yeah.
Put it on the 26 vision boards.
The reason we've invited you on is just
these cameras aren't even rolling.
You got a pitch just right there. I know you have.
That was the thing. And like I went to Korea and like tried to get things happening on a few trips, and like I'm still gunning for that. But I think that especially with K-pop and J-pop and obviously P-pop now as well, it's like it's a place where the music videos still need to look so polished and do have budget behind them to make it look really good.
Yeah.
Because that is as important as the music is the entertainment factor of it. Whereas I think with Australian music, we're maybe not as into music videos as we used to in the days of, you know, video hits and like that's showing my age, but that was
Rage,
Rage, everything. It's like we're not as into it anymore, but those markets of like J-pop, K-pop, everything are still big music video first markets in my eyes anyway.
There's a certain fandom around that genre where, because they are, the artists themselves are out in the open all the time, right? They're going live, they're sharing every kind of little facet of their lives, that the fandom around them is really, really hungry for seeing everything that is made and that they put into the world. And you see that in the Coke Studio Beanie music video. The views are, like we said, insane, and it's that hunger that they have. So, you know, look, I hope that I see that hunger exist in fandom in Australia. The hunger's there, but, you know, maybe, like you said, the appetite is shifting from it being just about visual. I hope it's, I hope it's about getting out there and enjoying it live and seeing it live and feeling that energy. That's where I think, you know,
with an ice cold Coca-Cola.
Coke Studio,
So moving into our wrap-up questions. One question we always ask is, what would you have done with another 100K production budget?
On that,
yeah.
I would have an extra. Oh mate, if we could have afforded an extra day, or an extra half day of shoots, I think we could have, like the fridge moment that I mentioned. I think we could have really doubled down on the core of what that idea was, which was this kind of these shared artist worlds all colliding together. And I think we could have had a lot more fun there if we'd just given ourselves just a little bit more time to sweat those details.
It's so often the case now. The schedule is so tight that there's almost no room to play. Like you're just like you're moving through things. You're onto the setup. You kind of lose that spark that you would like to have occasionally. Just to give something just a little bit more extra time.
And I'm not like, let's fix it in post and put the extra 100 grand into post. I'm like, let's get it on film. Like let's get it like genuinely on the day. And I think a little bit more time there, we could have really just like elevated it a little bit more. But can you get an extra half day for 100 grand? I'll let the producer crunch the numbers on that one. Exactly. I'm the ideas man.
I think it's time is
I don't touch spreadsheets.
Time's always the enemy, I think, of a shoot day. Always.
We often ask people, like, what do they wish people in production knew about their role? But I'm going to open that up a little bit more broadly for you, because I think what would be interesting for you is, like, what do you think people don't know about working in music and artists in the world of brand? Like, what do you think, something maybe from the outside, like it looks cool, it looks great, or it's the exciting part, or it's the challenges? What do you think people might not understand about what it takes to deliver a project like Coke Studio when working with brand and music?
Yeah, I mean, look, those sort of scale of music projects, I think we're very fortunate to be working on, possibly, you know, some of them most exciting music projects that are happening in market at the moment. I think Coca-Cola are doing amazing things there. So I think we're fortunate in that position. But something about my role that they might not know is, do you know what? I sort of mentioned it towards the start, is, you know, from the moment we got briefed, and I remember it was a Zoom call with like Ogilvy Singapore, Nikhil, who's the ECD there, and Anthony and Jari, the local creative team who we've worked with before. And we generally kind of got briefed in that November. We thought this will be done by April. You know, this will be out in the world. Yeah. You know, we'll be on to the next big thing. And it was a very, very long pre-production schedule, like very, very long. And it was not only driven by us in that we wanted to make sure that the craft was exceptional, which takes time in the to make sure that everything is great. But we had to fit around artists' schedules as well. Yeah, totally. So, you know, when we signed Beanie up for the project, we had a very small window where you know, it's sort of pre-tour, it's post-album, this finite window, and everything had to fit around that moment. And therefore we had to be incredibly flexible with timings, and sometimes time can be time can be something that you think is going to make it better. It can also sometimes mess you up a bit because you overthink it. You've got all the time in the world to be like, oh, actually, might we do this? How might we do that? You know, and it you know, you've got to make sure that you stay true to the original intent of what you were doing. But I'd say, especially when working with a brand the size of Coca-Cola, things take a lot of time. Yeah, we're not turning something like that around in 2 or 3 months.
Particularly when you're working outside the confines of an outer home or a 30-second TVC, when you're working into this confine where it could be almost anything. So all of a sudden that approval process is more complicated.
Yeah, and you're working with a calendar of, you know, Coca-Cola need to fit it within a certain moment, or if you don't have that moment, then it might shift somewhere else. And so I think, you know, for people like yourselves who might, or even yourself, Liam, on set, you might not realize to get to that point has been 8-9 months of work to kind of hit go and start rolling and hope that what you get there is the original intent of what you set out to achieve at the start. So
we touched on this in an earlier episode with Russ, and I am always reminding myself of that on set. And reminding, you know, crew members of that as well. It's like, it's one day for us, but for you guys, it's a year. For the client, it's even longer than that, you know. It is a long process, isn't it? And so when it comes down to the product shot taking longer, it's like, or the fridge shot being like a thing that you're like, no, we need to get this. It's because that entire year of you talking about those things is resting on that moment, right?
The 100 pages that you've done.
Exactly.
And all the emails and all the, you know, I'm sure there's a shitload of sleepless nights in there as well over that time. So yeah, it is good to reiterate that, I think, as well.
And I'd say as well, with just sort of putting the music culture lens over it for a second, like music culture can move at a rocket pace. It can move at speed, and I do think artists are very good at moving fast and kind of feeding off that and being reactive. But sometimes when you're working on a much larger project with a larger client or brand, they can't mobilize or change or pivot as fast as you could if you were just an artist and you had a smaller team and a smaller remit. So, you know, you get to the end of the project and you're like, has culture moved now?
Exactly. Or are we moving culture? So, Griff, the final thing is we turn the tables and allow you the opportunity to ask the director and the DOP a question. That's the kind of the last thing. If you have anything to ask from the DOP perspective on a project, or the director on a project, if you have a question, this is the time.
Oh, okay. I'm going to start with you, Liam. Let's go. Let's do this.
I'm terrified.
Yeah.
Yes,
well, look,
let's go.
We were chatting about music videos and K-pop.
Yeah.
What K-pop artist right now, if you could make a music video with, who would it be? Blackpink.
Yeah, Blackpink for sure.
Yeah.
And that's not
Insane.
just because of because of how big they are in culture at the moment. Like, I've been listening to them and watching them for a long time. A lot of my style of camera movement has come from the initial Blackpink music videos for, like, you know, How You Like That and all that stuff. When they started really rolling cameras and like really moving on cranes and that sort of stuff, just like when I saw that, I was like, fuck, this is cool. Like what was happening and what the creatives were doing on that was amazing. And I love the style of K-pop, how there's like, you're essentially doing 5 different sets, 5 completely different setups that look completely different, and cutting them all together with the same choreography into something, and how important movement is and how important the lighting is as well. Like, it has to be beautiful, high key beauty lighting. That's just me for sure.
Yeah,
but
there's a definite aesthetic, right? There's one, I put it on my mood board a lot. It's Jump by Blackpink.
Jump is crazy,
that music video is...
That gives me shivers thinking about it.
When I saw that, I was like, how have they even like made this?
There's this one.
It's so crazy.
I don't know if you've ever seen it. Like, it's my top 10. Like, well, it's actually number 1 is it's by BTS. It's called Fire. And the music video for that is just epic. Like, so good. The staging and the set design is amazing. And there's a bit in it where, and it's so funny, I've got to put this on the YouTube, where the guys are all like dancing in a room and they've got like gas heat pads, and they turn it on and it looks like turntables, and I'm like, that is just so funny. They're playing the burn tables, like, you know. But I think that's the thing, especially in that Korean culture and the K-pop culture, it's like they want to do weird stuff. They want to like push the envelope, and I feel like maybe we don't get to do that too much in Australia. And I think that's what's always spoken to me about it. But yeah, we have to have a K-pop music video
I'm
night.
in. I'm in. Honestly, like let's do a little sleep in.
Yeah.
K-pop and chill.
Yeah. That sounds
amazing.
great. No, awesome.
All right, Griff, thanks for coming on. That was pretty amazing.
Well, no, thanks so much for having me, guys. This has been great. Hopefully, I've said something of substance for you.
Yeah. It's all substance. Thanks, Griff.
Brilliant. Coming up next, we have Gear Chat. Woo! Okay, it is time for Gear Chat, where I do less of the talking and hand over to our resident scientist, nerd, whatever you want to describe it. But Liam, what have you got for us?
Self-employed chemist.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a very mad scientist thing here, like just breaking open cameras and holding up the sensors to the light to see which one's actually bigger.
I would love to do that.
But what have you got for us today in Gear Chat?
Mate, today is quite exciting. It's not a piece of gear yet, but it is a prototype.
Yeah, are you pitching ideas now to brands? It's just like Homer Simpson's car. Homer Simpson's hand-drawn car. What I need is this.
Well, this is the Sony Rialto 65. So 65 millimeter cinema is very hot right now. Whether it will take over or not is really time will tell. But Sony has just released a Rialto 65. So if you're familiar with the original Rialto, that is the Venice sensor block, and you can separate it from the Venice 2 or the Venice 1 and put it in a little case, and you can hand hold it, and it's a similar size to like a small DSLR or a small SLR.
And it's on the back, it goes on a backpack or
you can chuck the body of the camera on a backpack, or you can chuck it, give it to someone else, give it to a grip is even better, so you can just not have to hold it at all. And Sony's just announced that they are doing a 65 millimeter Rialto. And it's crazy because it actually works with the Venice 2. So it means that anyone like rental houses, owner ops who own a Venice 2 do not have to buy a brand new camera. They just buy the Venice 2 Rialto 65, and it works with their original camera body. So that's a really interesting thing that Sony's done to protect their users and the people who have invested in that system already. That's really very cool, man.
So like, obviously less technical person on this side of the table. Like, is this purely a like a cinema, like long form type of play?
Yeah.
So this doesn't seem like it would make that much of a difference going 35mm versus 65mm for like the rest of us.
I think like 65mm photography is not cheap.
Yeah.
And it won't be cheap. This is not going to be a cheap item. It is really for your IMAXs and those high budget cinema sort of things. I think as the technology gets older, we will see it become more prevalent in lower end cameras. Like I imagine it's not long before Sony releases a medium format mirrorless camera, you know?
And do you think that like just projecting in the future? Because I mean, I'm thinking about we went and saw one battle after another. We went to Rounding Ritz and we watched it. We watched it on the kind of large format film, like all the grain and everything. It was an incredible kind of experience just having that large format grain kind of traditional cinema experience.
Yeah.
Do you think that like something like this will ever flow down to your Netflix dramas, or do you think it's primarily?
Oh man, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. I think like the Venice is at a price point where it is a standard camera for a reason now, because it is a good price point. It's a very easily usable camera. The low light ability is amazing. The low light ability of this new 65mm sensor is meant to be 2 times better.
Yeah, right. Wow.
So 2 stops of light better. And the low light ability of the Venice 2 originally was pretty phenomenal. Like,
so does this mean now that like you're going to give me a director's monitor, but I'll also be running around with a thing in my backpack and I have to like keep up to you? Is that how this is going to end up?
I hope so. Yeah. I think that'd be good. I think like you're pretty economical with your takes, but some directors like to roll for a long time. So maybe giving them the backpack with the camera body on it makes
physical pain.
Yeah.
You're like,
come on,
sure,
mate.
we can do another take, but just you got to hold this.
Yeah, for the whole day.
I love it.
Yeah.
So what did you think of our conversation with Griff?
Awesome. Yeah, Griff's a legend. Like you and I know him quite well from the pub. And now it's like just to have him on the podcast, like I was not surprised that he was a great guest.
It's always great when you have someone who is a great talker but also has like interesting points to make as well. It's really
and
good.
Great work too.
Yeah,
like he's
really
probably
good.
got one of the cooler jobs in the whole industry, right? To
Very
be
much
around
so.
music.
Yeah, he loves
something
it.
that is like visually appealing anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost as culturally important as this podcast.
I would agree. Yeah.
So, look, as we said, this is episode 10. How are you going to celebrate? Have you got any like special edition merch you're going to wear next
I'm going to
episode?
celebrate by editing this episode with you. That's how we're going to celebrate.
Congratulations. Welcome to post-production.
Yeah. No, I'm going to celebrate by fixing the audio. And that's it. Yeah.
But look, on a more serious note, we kind of were joking about it, but we do heartfelt thanks to everyone who has watched, listened, social media, especially those of you who are watching the long form. That we do have some dedicated fans who listen to every single episode. And it's fantastic. We really, really appreciate it.
I think my dad's still listening as well.
Yeah, that's
which is
great.
cool.
Yeah.
Still listening in the bathtub, I believe, was last time. So.
Yeah. Well, interesting. The guest we have coming up on the next episode is one of the like listens to every episode. So maybe he'll have a few notes for making some jokes back at us. We'll find out.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Well, brilliant. Thank you, everybody. That was episode 10 of The Director and the D.O.P. We will see you next week.
Bye.